Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard 100, a video series documenting the culling of my collection down to a mere 100 games. You know the rules, there's only 3 of them, so you know them by now. If you don't, check the other videos, there's only 3 rules. Here's a thing that I really like. I like when you take an existing game mechanic, yeah I said mechanic, not mechanism, I don't care. A simple game mechanic and put it in another game to add stuff to it. The main thing that I can think of in the past 10 years or so is that when Dominion came out, it invented something called deck building, where I take cards to buy other cards and put them in my hand to do other things, and I just just keep doing that until it's all gone. Someone saw that and went, I want to use that but in another game. I want to use that, but then I want them to go around a spaceship or the French and Indian War. I want them to use deck building in line with something else. So many games have done this. I mentioned Clank, a few Acres of Snow. A lot of games use deck building as a mechanic in order to fuel a larger experience. And that is the thing we are talking about today. They have used deck building to create a racing game. But not a racing game with the wheels and the tires and the Lightning McQueens, but no, with your feet and your oars and your money. Today, we're talking about the quest for El Dorado. Quest for El Dorado is by Mr. Rainer Knizia, a game designer who I have grown to greatly enjoy since picking up board games. He's made a couple of my favorite games, including the Lord of the Rings game, Tigris and Euphrates, I believe, and a couple of others. I don't shy away from his games. I know some people can think they're a little dry and mathy, but I don't care. I really like them. And this game is no exception. The Quest for El Dorado, which I always called the Road to El Dorado or Race to El Dorado, but I think those are taken by other properties. This is a racing game that uses deck building. Now, what's really neat about this is that it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. It was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. I don't know what won this year, but this should have. I say that not having played the other ones, but I don't care. It's a deck building game of perilous paths and rewarding riches. Let's talk about this for a second. So in this game, you have your standard deck building fare. You have the cards in your hand, but the cards show one of a few things. It will either show machetes to help you carve your way through the brush. It will show an oar for you to paddle through the various rivers. It will show money that can be used to pay your way through markets on the board and to actually buy cards in the actual market. Or it could be a combination of those or some cards with special powers. But those are the main things that you're doing. So on your turn, all you're going to do is spin your cards as you would in any other deck builder. So if I have a machete, I will play a machete and move 1 on the machete. Pretty neat. If you have anything left over and there are other things of the same terrain next to you, you can move through that. And it is a race to get from point A to point B. There are no victory points, nothing else. You're only going from to, and it is pretty great. I played this one with Phil recently, and it was slow to start because we overlooked a rule. But about 10 minutes in, we reread something in the rule book and was like, oh, and then the next half of the game went crazy fast. It felt more like a race. The rule is, by the way, if I have a machete with a 3 on it, and there is a space with 1 machete, I go on it, and since I have some left over, I continue to move, kind of like making change and keep moving forward. I don't get to keep those later, because there's a card in the game called a Machete 6, or a giant machete, and he always wanted to use it to chop me down, because you can't pass people normally, so I bottlenecked him into a river, and he was very upset, and he wanted to use that machete to chop me down, but he couldn't. But then we wondered why something like a 6 exists if there's no 6s in the game, but then we read the rule and we figured it out. And it made the game go by a lot faster. In a 2-player game, you each control 2 people, and the first to get both of their people to the legendary city of El Dorado wins. It's pretty great. Now, what I do like about this game is there are different configurations for the racetrack, essentially. And the setup, it's on a separate sheet. It's very easy and concise. The cards are very easy to understand. A lot of them are better versions of existing cards, but there are ways to cull your cards or get rid of some of the weaker cards in your hand, because when you're done with all your cards, you gotta reshuffle. And they're the tiny little Hobbit cards, so they're kind of difficult to do the riffle shuffle. But you're gonna want to get rid of some of the lower cards, and there are spaces on the board for you to either discard anything or to just straight up get rid of them. And some of the cards that are in the deck to buy, you can only use once and then they're gone forever. It is so much fun and so clean. There's nothing clogging. I tell you a few simple rules, and based on that, you can look at the board and infer everything. It's really, really good. It's really, really fun. There are some people who may think that there isn't enough here. For me, as soon as I was finished playing it with him, which I won, by the way, I wanted to play it again. We didn't play the easiest track. We played the middle track, and I just had so much fun. And I could imagine like, oh, I should have taken this card. Oh, I should have taken this card. Oh, I should have done this, and I'll have a plan. Then I'll go through and completely mess it up. I've heard that it's not really good with 4 players. I don't think I'd ever play it with 4 players anyway, because if you have a plan based on something in the market that you want to buy, by the time your turn comes around, there's only 3 copies of each card to buy, and then it could be gone. I've also heard complaints that there's not a lot of variety. The cards that are in the market will always be the same cards in the market, but I don't mind that. There are some games that transcend replayability. Games like Alhambra and Dorado. Games that when I sit down to play it, like I know what game I'm gonna play and I have a strategy in mind, something that I wanna do. The broadest stroke of that would be chess. Chess never changes unless you get, what was that, For the Crown or something, or the Duke. But chess is pretty much just chess. Checkers is just checkers. You know what you're gonna get when you sit down with it. I don't need variable player powers and all this other stuff. I don't need my explorer to have a special ability. No, it's just a clean game, no kind of fluff. It's carved off everything. If there was ever an expansion for it, maybe just cards to kind of spice it up a little bit, but right now it's so fun. It's so fun just to go through. All the components are clean. Everything is well done. Graphic design on this one as compared to the last one we looked at. Here's a side-by-side. One side is the Escape from 100 Million BC, kind of taking you to the terrain types, and the other side is the Quest for El Dorado, which is the exact same idea, but infinitely better. Let's give some props. Illustrations, Franz Vollwinkle. Good job, guy. Graphic design, D.E. Ravensburger. So I don't know if that's just the company has an interior graphic designer or what, but damn, you did it. You guys need to tell the other people that they're not cutting it. But good job, Ravensburger. So let's go through some housekeeping. Ages 10 to 99. Ravensburger, I think they like to do this stuff a lot, where it's like basically for all ages. 10 to 99. Yes, this game is infinitely more complex than other games that we have looked at with a higher age count. 10-year-old, it's very simple. I have this, I can move this. Perfect. 2 to 4 players, as I mentioned, perfect at 2. It was wonderful. A lot of yelling at each other, and it was really, really good. 60 minutes? Yeah. If a little shorter once you realize what you're doing. Oh, they have some extra things. They give it a 3 for luck. Is there any luck? I guess the luck of the draw, always. For strategy, they give it a 4 because you're planning your turn. Because what's really good about this, as opposed to most deck builders, when you play your hand, you have to discard everything or use everything. You can't keep anything over, which really makes every turn the only turn that you can really focus on. But with this one, you can keep any amount of cards from your hand between turns. So if you're really building up for this one stretch of land that you gotta sprint through, you absolutely can do that. Communication 1, now there's no real communication needed other than middle fingers. Knowledge, you don't really need to know very much about it. Creativity, I don't really know what that means. And then action 2. I don't know, man, this game was just, it's fun. There's a variant in it where you will put tokens on the caves, and if you index to the cave, you get a token with like extra symbols on it or extra money or things like that to use. It says it's recommended for advanced, just use it immediately. It's so easy to use. Quest for El Dorado, and this deck building board game, a variable board game, more than 100,000 possible layouts. Excellent for 2 players. What is a deck building game? You know what it is. It's the Quest for El Dorado. Reiner Knizia, bless you, sir. Bless you and everything that you do with your beautiful German accent. This is great, guys. This is definitely going in. I don't want to get rid of it. It's a light box. It's beautiful. It's easy to teach, easy to play. This game is going to be around for a while, if just for the simplicity. I think my baby girl's gonna like this when she gets older. I think my family's gonna like this, and I think it'll be a really good game to kind of jostle without being really mean. There's a game we're gonna take a look at that might be pretty mean, but this one I don't think is. I think it's just fun. It's colorful. Remember when games used to be fun? This game's fun. Yeah. So this is definitely going on my, oh God, it's a lot of garbage. It's gonna go to the very top. Okay. There you go, Knizia. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, up there for me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Billy. Thank you for joining me for this latest take of the Hard 100. Remember, you can check the description below for the geek list on everything that has been in and a link to what has been out. Other than that, thank you so much for joining me. You have a great day. Go buy this game. It's readily available. It is good for my shelf. I think it's good for anyone's shelf. I think if you've been playing games for years, or if this is your very first game you'd ever buy, this is going to get you hooked. Great stuff. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Interesting. What's happening over here?